Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy. Welcome back to another video. So today, I do want to go ahead and give a quick disclaimer before I get into the actual movie discussion that I'm going to be having. I want to go ahead and say I'm currently not at my house. I'm at my sister's house. I'm still on my little vacation in North Carolina. So the lighting's not going to be as good. The audio quality might not be as good, but I still wanted to talk about this movie here before a couple days have gone by and I haven't had a chance to talk about it. So today I'm going to be talking about a movie that is on a streaming service. It is a Netflix original movie, which is kind of new to me. For the longest time, my family has owned all these different streaming services. Like, I know we definitely have Hulu, HBO Max, Disney, whatever, Plus. But I've never really been the kind of person to watch any of those originals. I've never really been a big on something that goes straight to a streaming service. But there are a couple that have been on my list that I've been wanting to watch, and now that I'm having my little vacation, I've finally had the chance to. So today, the movie we're going to be talking about is The Adam Project.
Modern movie review.
Okay, so right off the bat, I want to go ahead and talk about the cast. First of all, I think that the cast of this movie is fantastic. It only has a couple of people, which I always kind of like when there's less people in the movie, because it kind of gives each character a little bit more time to grow. For the most part, it's the two Adams, who are played by Ryan Reynolds, obviously, and I don't know the young actor's name, but the guy who's going to be playing Percy Jackson in the upcoming movie. I'm going to go ahead and put his name up on the screen. And then there's Mark Ruffalo, who plays their dad. I think that he does a phenomenal job in the little amount of screen time he was given. The mother, who I can't remember the name of the actress either, I'll put her up on the screen. And then there's the couple of antagonists who both are like kind of interesting, but kind of also just kind of there. Personally, I forgot to mention Zoe Saldana is also in this. She also had a small role, but I think she was good in it as well in her little amounts that she had. So big things I want to talk about this movie. I think it does a great job portraying positive masculinity. It shows that men can have emotions too, and that they really should have emotions. Something that I like about this movie is that Ryan Reynolds is playing a character who's kind of been emotionally numb for a really long time. He has a lot of suppressed trauma that he doesn't really talk about. He has a lot of issues that he really probably should have worked out back when he was younger, and he kind of hates his past self for things that he himself didn't do, and things that he wished he could have gone back and done, and things that he kind of is like mad at himself for. And you can tell he kind of carries this weight on his shoulders the entire movie. And something that I like about it is when he goes into the past and he meets his younger self. His younger self can kind of tell. He's like, something's up, something's wrong with you. I don't know what the hell your problem is, but I can tell there's things that you're not telling me about. And he's like, well, yeah, obviously. And he's using the excuse of time travel, and the reality is he doesn't want to talk about his life because he thinks that he's a failure, and he's very disappointed in himself, and he hates his father for his father leaving him, when in reality he's forcing himself to hate his father because he's sad that he misses him. And I kind of think that that's a really interesting thing, because it is very realistic that in today's society, and especially if a man has something that makes him sad, typically men are kind of taught to just kind of push your emotions to the side. It's okay, just toughen up. And so if a guy is ever sad about things, it's often that he will push it down, and eventually it'll come to anger instead of sadness, because men are kind of taught that being sad makes you weak. So it ends up leading to him hating his father for things that aren't really his father's fault. I think that's an interesting way that they explore that. And then I also think that the young Adam does a great job kind of being like a crutch and a little therapist to the older Adam in a way, and he keeps like getting this information out of him and kind of helping him trauma dump and release some of his frustrations that he's had for God knows how long. Really, really enjoy it. Really love it. A lot of things that I like about this movie that I think work really well. These scenes with Mark Ruffalo figuring out, he's not doing the best as a father and he needs to work on it is great. The scenes where he sat down and he's like talking to his wife, and his wife's just like, hey, look, when you're there, you're really there, and we really appreciate you, and you're really great. But sometimes you get too far into your science stuff, and you don't really do a great job of being there for us as a family or whatever. And he kind of realized, oh shit, I really should do a better job. And he realizes that at his point, it's probably a little late. And so he goes to help the future Adams, because they've came back to kind of help him out or whatever. Or they came back because they need his help. Really interesting story. Really like it. The sci-fi aspects of this are fantastic. The action scenes in this movie are fantastic. The black hole CGI graphics were fantastic. All of the dogfights with the cool jets. I loved a lot of the aspects of this movie. I think that all the action scenes of this movie are fantastic. But I also like the fact that it is more of a character-driven plot, with Ryan Reynolds and his younger version of himself having these discussions of like, well, why are you the way that you are? And why do you hate me being how I am or whatever? And why do you still hold on to these grudges from when you were my age, you know? And I think that it's a very interesting, morally complex story. And overall, I think that it's really, really good. And then one of my favorite scenes towards the end of the movie, after everything's said and done, they solved the problem. They prevented time travel from ever existing. The one lady who was the villain accidentally killed her younger self, whatever. The guys go back to the house, and they start playing catch or whatever. But before they do start playing catch, there's a really heartfelt scene where Mark Ruffalo, who's the father figure, tells his sons, hey, I love you guys. You guys are amazing. I love you more than you could ever imagine. I'm so proud of you. And he just kind of keeps saying it over and over and over again, because that's something about guys, is they are very stubborn people. They are not the kind of person who will be like, hey, you're saying this thing, we're just going to take it immediately. We're just going to assume that you're right. And I love it because it's kind of like the scene in Good Will Hunting that's really, really famous, where it's like the, what's it called? It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. No, you're not listening to me. It's not your fault. And he just keeps pressuring it. And I think that Mark Ruffalo does that scene so well. And Ryan Reynolds is just kind of like, shut up, please stop. And it's like, eventually, Ryan Reynolds basically breaks, and they have a nice moment where they hug it out, and the young Adam comes and joins the hug. And it is such a sweet moment. And one of my favorite lines about that is when they're talking about how they need to save their dad, and he's like, no, you can't do that. And they're just like, you can't do anything to change the future. And he's just like, well, it's not the future, it's your future. And he said back to them, no, you guys are my future. And it is, I started actually tearing up over this. And I was like, this is supposed to be a sci-fi action adventure. And I'm genuinely getting teary-eyed. Mark Ruffalo being able to play like a fatherly figure who's very serious. And God, yeah, no, I was not expecting that. When I saw that the majority of the actors and actresses in this were like Marvel people, I was kind of like, okay, cool. It's just going to be a cool, funny action movie. And then there were scenes that were like really heavily emotional. And I started tearing up. It caught me off guard. This was a great movie. And if you guys haven't seen it and you guys have a Netflix subscription, I definitely 10 out of 10 would recommend it. Overall, I'd give the rating for this movie a solid 91. I think it was great. There was definitely, obviously, a couple things that could have been changed here or there, but I think that overall it is a very solid movie. And I definitely recommend seeing it for any of you guys who have not. But that being said, that's it for this video, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys with hopefully a better quality video soon. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.